One of my favorite parts is this reading this book together. I wish we were in person doing this because I would love to see your reactions and hear your questions as we're going through it. I also love reading outside. I don't know what that's about. When it's raining, I could read on a couch easy. But my mom lives out in the country in Pumpkin Center, Louisiana. And there is just like everybody owns a Bubba truck and a trailer and a tractor, and it's so loud that I can't go in her backyard because you can't hear me over all of the driving and so forth. So I don't know, maybe later if I get to go see my brother, then I might could do some reading, pre-record some reading for tomorrow on his deck. He has a nice deck. So anyway, here we go. Ready? We're reading in chapter 31 and 32. Remember Mig, I just find it so funny, but you're happy for her because she's at least in an area where she's being fed and she's able to work. She's not so bright, but I don't think it's because she's not trying. She just can't hear. And so you feel sorry for her, don't you? So let's see what happens. All right, chapter 31. The terrible, foul odor of the dungeon did not bother Meg. Perhaps that is because sometimes when Uncle was giving her a good clout to the ear, he missed his mark and delivered a good clout to Meg's nose instead. This happened often enough that it interrupted the proper working of Meg's olfactory senses. Her smelling. And so it was that the overwhelming stench of despair and hopelessness and evil was not all discernible to her, and she went happily down the twisting, turning stairs. "Oh," she shouted, "it's dark, ain't it?" "Yes, it is, Meg," she answered herself. "But if I was a princess, I would be so glitterily light that there wouldn't be a place in the world that would be dark to me." At this point, Miggery Sow broke into a little song that went something like this. "I ain't the Princess Pea, but someday I will be. The pea, ha he, someday I will be." Mig, as you can imagine, wasn't much of a singer, more of a bellower, really. But in her little song, there was, to the rightly tuned ear, a certain kind of music. And Mig went singing down the stairs of the dungeon. There appeared from the shadows a rat, wrapped in a cloak of red and wearing a spoon on his head. Who is that? It's Roscuro. "Yes, yes," whispered the rat. "A lovely song. Just the song I have been waiting to hear." And Roscuro quietly fell in step behind Miggery Sow. At the bottom of the stairs, Mig shouted out in the darkness, "Gore, it's me, Miggery Sow. Most calls me Mig. I'm delivering your food. Come and get it, Mr. Deep Downs." There was no response. The dungeon was quiet, but it was not quiet in a good way. It was quiet in an ominous way. It was quiet in the way of small, frightening sounds. There was the snail-like slither of water oozing down a wall, and from around a darkened corner there came the low moan of someone in pain. And then, too, there was the noise of rats going about their business, their sharp nails hitting the stones of the dungeon, and their long tails dragging behind them through the blood and the muck. Gross. Oh, man, I haven't even eaten yet. Nasty. Reader, if you were standing in the dungeon, you certainly hear all those disturbing and ominous sounds. If I were standing in the dungeon, I would hear those sounds. If we were standing together in the dungeons, we could hear these sounds and we would be frightened. We would cling to each other in our own fear. But what did Miggery Sow hear? That's right, absolutely nothing. And so she was not afraid at all, not in the least. She held the tray up higher, and the candle shed its weak light on the towering pile of spoons and bowls and kettles. Gore, said Meg, look at them things. I ain't never imagined there could be so many spoons in the whole wide world. There is more to this world than anyone could imagine, said a booming voice from the darkness. True, true, whispered Roscaro. The old jailer speaks true. Gore, said Meg. Who said that? And she turned in the direction of the jailer's voice. Chapter 32. The candlelight on Meg's tray revealed Gregory limping toward her, the thick rope tied around his ankle and his hands outstretched. You, Gregory presumes, have brought food for the jailer? Gore, said Meg. She took a step backward. Give it here, said Gregory, and he took the tray from Meg and sat down on an overturned kettle that had rolled free from the tower. He balanced the tray on his knees and stared at the covered plate. Gregory assumes that today, again, there is no soup. Eh? Said Meg. Soup, shouted Gregory. Illegal, shouted Meg back. Most foolish, muttered Gregory as he lifted the cover off the plate. Too foolish to be born a world without soup. He picked up a drumstick and put the whole of it in his mouth, and he chewed and he swallowed it. Here, said Meg, staring hard at him. You forgot the bones. Not forgotten, chewed. Gork, said Meg, staring at Gregory with respect. You eats the bones? You are most ferocious. Gregory ate another piece of chicken, a wing, bones and all. Gross. And then another. Meg watched him admiringly. Someday, she said, moved suddenly to tell the man her deepest wishes, I will be a princess. At this pronouncement, Roscaro, who was still at Meg's side, did a small little deliberate jig of joy. In the light of the one candle, his dancing shadow was large and fearsome indeed. Gregory sees you, Gregory said to the wet shadow. Roscaro stopped or ceased his dance. He moved to hide beneath Meg's skirt. Eh? Shouted Meg. What's that? Nothing, said Gregory. So you aim to be a princess? Well, everybody has a foolish dream. Gregory, for instance, dreams of a world where soup is legal. And that rat, Gregory is sure, has some foolish dream too. If only you knew, whispered Roscaro. What? Shouted Meg. Gregory said nothing more. Instead, he reached into his pocket and then held his napkin up to his face and sneezed into it. Once, twice, 3 times. Bless you, shouted Meg. Bless you, bless you. Back to the world of light, Gregory whispered, and then he balled the napkin up and placed it on the tray. Gregory is done, he said, and he held the tray out to Meg. Done, are you? Then the tray goes back upstairs. Cook says it must. You take the tray to the deep downs, you wait for old man to eat, and then you bring the tray back. Them's my instructions. They instruct you, too, to beware of rats? The what? The rats. What about them? Beware of them, shouted Gregory. Right, said Meg. Beware the rats. Roscaro, hidden beneath Meg's skirts, rubbed his front paws together. Wander all you like, old man, he whispered. My hour has arrived. The time is now, and your rope must break. No nibbling this time. Rather, a serious chew that will break it into 2. Yes, it is all coming clear. Revenge is at hand. That is one mean rat. I thought little Roscaro was a booger. Man. Okay. You get to draw your own stick person. This is me. Funny hair, big skirt, no neck. Or long skinny neck. I don't know. Draw a picture of your face beneath the thought bubble. I did a stick person. Complete the wandering web by asking questions that you would have about any character or part that's in this story. So Gregory, although he's rude and somewhat, what did Meg call him? Ferocious. He has some wisdom to him, doesn't he? How did he know that that rat was up to something? How did he know to warn Meg? I found it interesting that Gregory was not judgmental of Meg like some others that have come to her, right, or come across her. So they're wanting you to just write different questions you might ask. Why is Roscoe so mean? Why can't Meg understand what could happen? Why doesn't Gregory do his job and go home and come back? Why's he got to live in the dungeon? There's all kinds of questions. Those are just ones I have. So I want you to fill out this. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different questions. All right. It can be about a character itself, or it could be about a situation that's happening in the story right now. So let's find out what happens to Despero, because I have a feeling he's coming right back soon.